Talkers, what's up, Gruntworks Nation? The Big Earl is always asking, why is China hoarding food? Experts say that China is hoarding a massive amount of food. They will soon have over two-thirds of the globe's corn reserves, over half of its rice, and over half of its wheat. But when asked about it, China lies. One China expert says they, of course, will never admit to something like that. Well, what does China know that we don't? When it comes to global food shortages, China is the canary in the coal mine. You see, China is the world's #1 food importer. They rely on the rest of the world to keep their people fed. So they can't afford to mess up. Or there will be riots, civil panic, or even worse, when over 1 billion people can't eat. What does this mean for Americans like you and me? 2 words: food shortages. That's why it's a smart idea to stock up on a kit of best-selling 4 Patriots survival food. Create your own stockpile of the best-selling 4 Patriots survival food kits. Hand-packed in the USA. The kits are compact and stack easily. They have different delicious breakfasts, lunches, and dinners. And their 5-star reviews on the website rave about the flavor and the taste. Right now, you can get 10% off your first purchase of 4 Patriots survival food by typing in the code VTTGW at checkout. Just go to 4patriots.com and use the code VTTGW to get 10% off your first purchase of 4 Patriots survival food. That's 4patriots.com. Use the code VTTGW.
Hey, what's up, trash talkers? Listen, it's impossible to fight, okay, if you don't know what you're fighting for. Does that make sense? Like, if you're in the dumps and you're struggling with mental health, things of that nature, it's going to continue tearing you down, all right? Because you're consistently trying to fight something, which is that demon, which is usually something from the past, right? Maybe that why needs to be fighting for your future. Let that be your why. Get the hell up and start fighting for your future. Stop fighting things that happened in the past. Easier said than done, right? Go seek help. It's okay not to be okay. A lot of people need to hear this. You are more of a warrior and a fighter if you stand up and say, hey, this has to stop. I need to go seek help. The stigma, everything has changed. It's okay not to be okay.
Here is a firm believer in all men are created equal, but not all men live equal. That is why there's a certain select number of people in the DoD who decided to jump out of airplanes. And yes, we are better than you. 100%. Now, don't be the first triggered pansy to say, well, airborne's not relevant. You haven't jumped since World War II. Well, that's not accurate, for one. And two, it's like having a jalopy or a 68 Mustang. Well, a 68 Mustang's no longer relevant. Doesn't matter. It's still a better car than yours. So take it easy this National Airborne Day and just accept that we are better than you.
So 2 things for today's Honesty Cap. First thing, how do all my boys from the 101st feel knowing that the Army decided that instead of actually making you airborne, they've just created a whole new division that's airborne because you just aren't cutting it? It sucks. Thing number 2, for all the folks who were like, oh, airborne is irrelevant, doesn't even matter. They're making a whole new division of just airborne people because they're relevant. Think about that. How's that feel? Does it hurt a little bit? I hope it hurts a little bit.
This is the Veteran Trash Talk Hour, hosted by Nick, Dave, and Buddy. Real warriors making fun of other real warriors. Try to not get triggered.
What is up, Trash Talkers? What's up, Gruntworks Nation? Welcome to episode 144 of the Trash Talk Hour. Returning guest today is Mike with Ariel Resupply Coffee, and today I'm here with Buddy and Nick. Happy New Year's to everybody, huh?
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Shout out to
Merry
Lenny for
New
birthday
Year.
today. Should we sing Lena happy birthday or what?
No.
No.
Okay.
No.
Well, happy birthday anyway.
But happy birthday, Len.
Yeah.
Hey, let us
Happy
know where you're
birthday,
partying.
Len.
I asked where you're partying. We'll send some money to the bar tab.
Yeah,
So,
let's do that.
Yeah, we know you're going out. Don't lie. You're going out.
Let parties a little, huh?
Yeah, a little bit. How's
How's everybody doing today? Good?
My buddy's frozen.
Yeah.
I'm doing great.
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
Am I frozen? I'm not
A little
frozen.
bit.
Yeah.
I'm not frozen.
Yeah. You're frozen.
You're lagging a little bit, buddy. You're lagging.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, maybe your computer smells the Indian food. I don't know.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be.
It could be.
Could be. Could be. It's let me tell you, I love Indian food, but it's like 24 hours later it doesn't love me. You know what I mean? Like it's not a fan. It's not a fan.
Yeah.
Like Johnny
Yeah,
Cash. I'm a butthole.
Oh,
Ring of fire.
Ring of fire. Yeah, there you go.
Anyhow.
Well, can't monetize on Twitch talking about buttholes exploding, can we, Chris?
No, let's not try that.
Wait, Twitch doesn't.
Oh, we can. We can talk about buttholes.
Isn't
exploding.
that what your butthole does when it's on fire? Twitches.
Twitch. Oh, there you go. Oh, there you go. This is great.
That's
But-
the commercial.
That's great. Good to be back. Good to be back.
We're-
Well, hey, let's kick this dumpster fire off. Buddy actually recommended this conspiracy. I was going to talk about something else today, but I'm going to save that for next week. So
Hey,
Chris is going to
it's
play
the
a
one-
video.
Much
Go
like
ahead.
my
Go ahead, buddy. What were you
butthole
saying?
after Indian food, it is the conspiracy that is on fire.
Yeah. Let's see what's going on here.
On January 2nd, 2024, a large police presence was spotted at the Bayside Marketplace, an outdoor mall in Miami, Florida. The police report stated that it was an incident involving teenagers with sticks and fireworks that caused a panic among shoppers. The problem that most people are having with this report is the sheer number of police vehicles involved, around 100, that surrounded the mall just for a small group of teenagers, 4 total, that had fireworks and sticks. Then eyewitness reports began surfacing of 8 to 10-foot creatures which were entering the mall, which really caused the mass panic from shoppers to the point many who were armed began to fire upon the large creatures. This caused the power to be cut from the mall and surrounding homes, and black helicopters sent into the air to scan the area, shutting down the Miami airport until the search was finished. Some have described these creatures as zombies to reptilians, to even Nephilim in nature as they entered the marketplace. What are these creatures? Are they a sign of the last days of Noah, or is it a government experiment gone AWOL? Or cryptids journeying from a secluded area nearby? You tell me.
So welcome to 2024. Okay, all right. So I'm gonna give my whole take on this shit. So I was actually looking at that. It's trending all over Twitter, trending all over TikTok. So the police presence is accurate. Hundreds of police officers got to the mall.
Like that's all of
obviously-
the cops. Like everyone.
Yeah.
Like,
Every
that's-
one of
Like
them.
every
it's
single
all-
one.
Every
of them.
single. They called one. They were off work, and they were like, "Hey, come down
Yeah.
to the mall."
Right.
Unless
And it
they
was
had a free
apparently
donut giveaway. That's a lot of cops.
Yeah, and it was apparently over a fight that broke out between teenagers with sticks and stuff. But then the airspace was shut down. The airport was shut down, apparently. Any radio communication for civilians was shut down, all kinds of crazy stuff over teenagers with sticks. So that's a little bit weird. Now there were shots fired in the mall, okay, because apparently people were shooting at these creatures, right? Or it was just teenagers shooting at each other.
Or firecrackers.
Yeah, firecrackers, right? Fireworks as well. I don't know, man. I don't buy into this. I do find it funny that at the same time the Epstein list was released, right? Kind of that's been out too, trending now. So, hey, maybe we send hundreds of cop cars to this mall in Miami over kids fighting. Let it trend on Twitter and TikTok, and everybody will forget about the list that is currently out. So that's my take on it. I don't think there were 8 to 10-foot creatures in the mall. Now, there are some weird videos. If you go on TikTok, there's guys that are describing these things, and then their videos keep getting taken down. I was going to send Buddy one yesterday, and I physically saw it's no longer on TikTok anymore. And this guy describes this 8 to 10-foot creature that's chasing people in the mall. I don't know, man. I think it's a cover-up for the Epstein list. that was just released. That is my take.
Wow.
Mike, what is your take? Buddy, hold off. Let me get with Mike.
I'm
It's not your turn, buddy.
I
Well,
got it.
Buddy
I'm
actually
actually
thinks it
kinda
was 8 to
shocked.
10 foot creatures.
I'm
Well,
shocked at
Go
what
get
just
you,
happened.
buddy.
Go ahead.
What if you look at it?
Go,
What if you
Mike.
look at this a little bit differently? What if you look at it as the police were really there to create almost like a Thunderdome atmosphere, where the kids were in there with sticks taking down the 8 to 10 foot creatures, and the police are just there to make sure that nobody left, and then they've covered it all up from there to keep all these, and then they arrested all the kids after these 8 to 10 foot creatures were taken
I think
down.
4 were. I think 4 were arrested from the reports I saw. 4
Yeah,
or
so maybe
6,
they were the
maybe,
ones
at
that
most.
actually defeated these creatures, and they just kept it all trapped inside the mall where, there can only be one at the end.
I do like how it's Florida and people are popping off and apparently shooting at these things.
Right.
So, like,
It was
I don't know,
Miami
man.
though.
America.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah, it is Miami. So
So is
I
that
don't-
your sarcastic take, Mike, or did this really happen? Were there creatures in the mall?
That was, I think, kind of both. I mean, I think I weaved both sarcasm and reality into the same take.
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Good take, Mike. All right, buddy. The long-awaited moment. We've been wanting to hear your take on this because you seem very invested in this. So let's go. You might have some intel, maybe, through the special forces or whatever.
Well, I do have.
Just
this,
stay still
like,
because your
cool-
shitty
I've
ass
got
camera
this-
can't
I've
pick
got
you
this,
up.
like,
Just like that. Make sure you guys watch the Kandahar Giant episode that we did. So,
Buddy's already ran into giants before.
True. That being said, I do think that it's funny that my take on it is going to be traditionally Dave's take, which it is mind blowing to me. I thought
great.
Dave and I were
It's a
going to
new year, buddy. It's a
I
new
thought we
me,
were
new
gonna
year.
fucking-
Or new year,
But
new
hey,
me, right?
new year, and it's 2024, and we have cranked it up already with some
All
crazy
the earthquakes and
shit
stuff in
going
Japan
on in
and
the world.
yeah.
There's
Well, those
fucking
gotta happen all the
there's-
time.
There's tsunamis hitting
Yeah, but a lot
fucking
more.
California, just like fucking ripping California apart. There's
Yep.
apparently monsters in Miami.
Iceland is getting fucked up by that volcano. Like it's really bad
That's
out there.
all the time.
Yeah, and
Iceland's
then
always gotten volcanoes.
no, but it's like excessively bad right now. And then Japan got hit with that earthquake. But sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah,
You
well, that's because they've got bigger monsters that are coming out in Japan. They look
Fucking
like
Godzilla.
Oh, Godzilla. Anywho, I will say that we also did an episode on some Peruvian 7 to 10 foot tall silver beings running around.
In the trees.
You're right, dude.
Now-
In the trees.
Are we not going to draw a connection? Maybe these aliens that went to Peru, they just aren't real big on like South Americans, Latinos, so they hit up Miami. You know what I mean? They got how off if you're coming from millions of light years away, that's like a fucking split, a little bitty degree off.
All
And
to
they
go to
ended
Hot
up-
Topic,
So they
right?
were coming to help their Peruvian buddies. They're the reinforcements. Those 4 dudes, creatures, whatever, they came down. They were just a little bit off. They ended up in Miami. Where's the first place you would go if you traveled light years away? I'm trying to get an orange Julius dog.
Yeah, exactly.
Some type of
Maybe
Taco
some
Bell.
clothes. Maybe some clothes.
I'm going to the food court.
Yeah. Well, they got
What's the
space
first
suits
thing the
on.
What's the first thing the Terminator did?
Right? Going to
He went and
Spencer's
got
to
clothes.
get a cool. I'm going to
True.
Spencer's to get myself a cool, like, some kind of like funny graphic tee, so that when I do show up in Peru, I'm killing it, fashion wise, and also killing these Peruvian llama soldiers that are coming to stop me and my boys from taking over the fucking.
Yeah, those guys were fighting for
the-
days, bro.
I think they're here to take over the llama. The wool industry from that shit. That
And they were in
alpaca.
Vegas.
That alpaca.
They were in Vegas
wool.
a month ago, 2 months ago, when that UAP supposedly landed. There was a whole thing in Vegas.
That's all I'm saying.
That was the most real video we've seen.
Yeah, well,
The Vegas
all I'm
one.
saying
That one was weird as fuck.
is
Yeah.
that
one
That
was
family
real.
they don't talk to
It-
people anymore. Even the cops admitted seeing
Yeah, the
lights in
cops
the
are
sky.
like,
Like,
Nope.
yeah. Well, here's the thing. That's a
what the
lot
fuck
of
is really
cops.
going on, bro?
That's a lot of police officers.
It is.
for 4
It
kids.
is. And to
with
cut off
sticks.
airspace, like
Also,
do they come?
who fights?
Do they shut
What
down
kid-
airspace for like a mass shooting or anything? Like,
Oh,
would
no.
they? Is that protocol?
What group of West Side Story watching ass kids are showing up at the mall with sticks and chains, fucking snapping their way into a rumble? Like, who's fighting with sticks at the mall now? That's not a thing. Kids don't fight with
Who
sticks
said
anymore.
sticks? It was
Like,
on the news. Sticks.
That's-
What?
Yeah, sticks. Like they were like,
Like,
yo,
they even-
hey, pony boy, grab your
Yeah.
stick. We're gonna go beat freaking the socias up down at
Fake
fucking
news
Hot
editor
Topic.
needs to like
We're gonna-
be fired.
we
They need
gotta-
to hire somebody else.
We gotta fight. We gotta fight down at Hot Topic. We're gonna go get it on, guys.
It was the
Yeah.
flash mob for Lord of the Flies.
Yeah. Like
Yeah,
I don't.
Yeah.
I
I love that movie.
I think that there might have been creatures because everything else. The funny thing is that creatures showing up at a mall in Miami is to me light years more plausible than 4 kids fighting with sticks in 2024.
Yeah, but
Unless
wouldn't
they
it be
were
so
doing
hard
some
to like?
ninja training.
I mean, there are people on TikTok that are mentioning these, but like, so hard to like cover up that whole like these cops. Some of these cops like have to be talking or like, I don't know, man. That'd be a big one to keep.
Yeah,
You
that's
really
always
think they
the-
were fucking? You really
I
think they were
think
creatures in there, bro?
it had to be things. Maybe it was the Miami Heat.
Damn.
Maybe the Miami Heat
Or
was just playing a
Project
joke.
Blue
Yeah,
Beam.
it could have been. It could have been the Miami Heat. The guys going shopping, and all of a sudden they're getting shot at because everybody thinks they're aliens. No, dude, I'm really just 7'4". Like my
Yeah.
bad. Like, it's like, you watch me on TV and shit. Like,
Yeah.
come
Damn.
on, come
Yeah.
on.
Could be.
Buddy,
Oh.
legitimately now. Okay. All right. Damn.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't know whether I'm more shocked.
There's a
about the
video on
4
TikTok
aliens.
with one on a roof where
Like
like
I
it's
said,
walking on a
I
roof
don't
supposedly.
know whether
It's
I'm
like,
more
oh,
shocked at the 4 aliens that showed up on the roof or in Miami, or the fact that I am the one that is thinking that it was actual creatures and not Dave. Blows my mind.
love
I mean,
you,
hey,
buddy.
you
Love
are
you. Great take.
you are getting your master's degree, so you are somewhat more educated now.
Yeah.
Your eyes
Look,
are
and I
starting
got
to
this,
open.
and I got this hippie sweatshirt. So,
Nobody can tell what you're wearing because your screen
They're
sucks.
desensitizing us
good.
anyway with
That's
the whole
good, guys.
alien
it's,
UAP
it's one of
phenomenon.
those old
So
hippie
like,
sweatshirts.
maybe it did happen. Who knows?
I
Nick,
think it
what's
Yeah.
your take?
You gotta take
Yeah, buddy. Are you on a computer?
Yeah.
Yeah, press F5 while I'm talking. You'll come right back. So reload it. It'll help it out.
Oh, you know what? I'll be
Unless
right
you're
back.
on a Mac. Yeah,
right
there
back.
you go.
No, I am.
Um,
but hold on. I'll be right back. I know what I did.
So this one is tough for me because what were we talking about a few shows ago about like the government super soldiers, right? Like they build these they build these monsters, right? And
Oh yeah, that was in
sometimes-
that place in Jersey, right? Where the satellite is or whatever. Yeah.
right. And then there's another compound somewhere else where they're building these creatures, right? Where they made what's it, Captain America? They're making these dudes. Before I get into it, we got Brian Hot. He says they found a creature on Gold Rush. Some archaeological society took over large creatures. Then you got Jeremy Daniels saying present. What's up, JD? Crystal and thanks for chiming in. I think that I do like that the reports of people shooting at them, right, from one of the free states in America, because you have
Love that. That's like the best part, bro.
because Texas is the greatest country in America, and then you have some freer states like South Dakota, and then Florida and some of these places that you're allowed to do things like constitutionally that you're supposed to. But yeah, I think the cop presence is because people were popping off at these things, right? And so but here's the thing that nobody's paying attention to, right? You said shutting down the airspace, all right? Why are we shutting
That's
down?
super weird. Yeah.
Because their transport ship is there that brought these guys.
So Nick, real quick to that, there's another video because I went down the rabbit hole. On
Now,
TikTok
I'm not
with guys that
saying they're
filmed UFOs
aliens.
the night before. No, people were filming UFOs in that area the night before.
I'm not saying they're
UAPs.
aliens, but
No.
what if the super soldiers that were building in New Jersey
Went haywire, huh?
went AWOL with one of the super jets that we built, right? Like the one on Marvel, where it can like turn into
AI,
like
everything. It's all coming together, man.
Hey, I'm
Yeah,
gonna tell
we'll
you.
find-
I'm gonna tell you. I will. I have to. I mean, now that Nick's saying it, I have to agree. When I got out of basic training in AIT, one of the first places I went
was the mall. We
with
all
that
went
money,
to the
I had
mall.
that new money. I went to that mall, got with the structure, got me some new blue jeans. Just saying.
Yeah.
And who knows?
PX, you went to the
Maybe these
PX, bro.
maybe these super soldiers got counseled not to buy anything without their team leader being present, and they lost their shit, right? And they were like, you know what? I'm gonna go get whatever I want, right? Because I'm American, right? I might be made in the lab, but I'm American. I was made in America, right? So
Know my
like,
rights.
yeah, I know my rights, and they're getting after it. So I can see somewhat of a an alien thing with the Peruvians, but I think these are super soldiers from New Jersey that got out. And I mean, you can pretty much lock that down because I'm pretty much the most right person on this panel most of the
Pretty
time.
much certain. 100% happened.
Right?
Yeah.
100% happened. But with
In the
that,
meantime, you should probably go check out forpatriots.com/VTTGW and get you some supplies because shit is getting serious.
that is
Just
great.
saying.
Yeah,
Stamp
tag that, Chris. Yeah,
That's a
tag
good
that
segue.
one. Yeah,
That
good
is a good
segue.
segue.
It's a good segue because things are going crazy. Alabama did not make the national title game, nor is there not an SEC team in the national title game. In fact, seeing as it's 2024, technically there's two Big Ten teams in this national title game. All right, because that's where Washington's going this year. All right, so you got two Big Ten teams in the national championship. Get your four Patriots supply now because when you got two Big Ten teams in the national title and no SEC teams, something bad going to happen. All right, the universe is going to do something. Something's going down.
Definitely going down.
But yeah, it was my turn for the Book of Earl, but I figured that because of the mental state Buddy is in, that we would allow him some time to talk about
off.
good old
He really thinks
Alabama.
they were.
Yeah.
Look.
So like I said in the script, go ahead and show us on the doll where Alabama hurt you.
First of all, the first thing I'm gonna say is Roll Tide. Just Roll Tide. Fuck all you other people. Roll Tide. I'm gonna piggyback off my own statement by saying the worst thing in the world is an Alabama fan who, on a year that they don't win a national championship, but still win 12 games, whines about Alabama football and how they got cheated or fucking they should have been this or that or it's this or shut the fuck up. Like, we eat as an Alabama fan. I've been an Alabama fan since the 80s. Back when Bear Bryant was coaching Alabama football. And that was a great time to be an Alabama fan, right? Then we got into the 90s. It wasn't so good. It wasn't so easy every year to be an Alabama fan because there were years where we had coaches that, they were busy with strippers. And so they got fired real quick. We didn't play very well. Shit sucked. And then our Lord and Savior, Nicholas Saban, came. And or Saint Nick, if you will. If I will. Well, it's Christmas. Saint Nick has come along, and since then, we're at 18 national championships as a program. And I say we. I've never played for Alabama football, but I'm from Alabama, so I get to say we. We're at 18 national championships. We're in the playoffs more than we're not in the playoffs. So 1 year where we don't win the national championship, or even a couple years where we don't win the national championship, there are other people that would be more than happy with, be a Colorado fan. Go do that. Go try that on for side. That sucks a little bit. You got a Rutgers fan, coach, a bunch of people from the portal, and you're still not that good.
Not even a ball game.
Yeah, not good.
When you didn't even win 6 games.
Yeah, not even in the cereal bowl. You know what I mean? You just fucked. All right. So my honesty cap is to my fellow Alabama fans that have a little bit of a heartache about this season,
or any diehard fan. that acts like
any diehard fan, but definitely any diehard fan who is, as we say in the biz, being a little bitch right now. Calm down. It's all right. It's gonna be okay. There's creatures in Miami that are more worried. That you should be more worried about than Alabama football. We're gonna be back next year. It's gonna be all right. We're gonna win a lot of games. There's a lot of games in our future. There's probably some more national championships. It's gonna be okay. I will say that the SEC thing, that's a hard one. That was a hard blow to take because it was like all of the SEC that was in the playoffs. And I count Texas because they'll be there next year. But that was tough. That was tough, guys. That was a hard one to take. But you know what? Barring more of these aliens showing up, which, by the way, fucking where in the fuck was Nick Saban for these aliens? Why weren't we recruiting?
What if he's coaching them?
These motherfuckers are teleporting through shit. Come on. That's what we need. Fucking offensive line. We need 8-foot tall aliens. Zip pop. Like a touchdown.
I mean, they are Americans. They should have eligibility.
They're Americans.
Especially if they're New Jersey soldiers, they're definitely Americans.
Even if they're aliens and they just show up, it's all right. Maybe that's what they. Whatever. I'm getting my conspiracy and my fucking honesty cap all fucking intermingled. Anyway, hey, roll Tide. It's gonna be all right next year, and stop being a prick about being an Alabama fan just because they lost a game. You fucking weirdos.
Yeah. Cheers to that.
You know, I like that you said that.
No
buddy.
clue about any of it.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, Dave. That's one way to shut Dave. One way to shut Dave up during your honesty cap and book of roll is talk about American sports, right? Because he just sit there. He doesn't know what you're saying.
No idea.
So that's one way. He's like, I want to say something, but I don't know what to say.
Know what to say? Cheers.
Yeah. Cheers. Cheers. You know, it drives me like you see these teams that just they've. Well, I'm a Packer fan, and I say this on my NFL show all the time. You know, I'm an objective.
I like Aaron Rodgers.
I'm an objective football. Like I appreciate good football. Sometimes I gamble against the Packers, even though I'm a fan. But you will have people after like a Packer loss or a Dallas loss. Dallas and Packers are kind of like the same kind of crazy cult fans, right? Like when we're still about them boys. Well, yeah, you're a fan. Just because they lost doesn't mean that you have to pledge your allegiance to them every time they lose, that you're still going to be there next Sunday. Like, calm the hell down, right? Like, we about them boys. Like, I'm still a Packer fan, green and gold in the blood.
Yeah, well, if it took one loss for you to be like, fuck the Packers,
yeah,
probably not really a fan. Anyway,
exactly. But what we do got to talk about with the Alabama thing and the SEC thing is, this is where Joe was right. If you haven't watched Joe's video after Michigan won, he's hammered drunk for one, and it's great, right? Like so.
I actually saw that video pop up and immediately scrolled.
No, you need to watch it.
I'm not watching this shit.
He's hammered drunk, but in his
drunk
in his Ed high too. But in his blabbering, there was a small point in there, right? It was like, then that small point was that the whole of the SEC has made a living off of Georgia and Alabama, right? All of them. All of us, you'll have some Vanderbilt fan telling me how much the Big Ten sucks. And I'd be like, bro, you would be in the bottom of the Big Ten too. You'd be in the bottom of you wouldn't be there. Tennessee, they were good for a few years, right? But you're not, you would be an okay Big Ten team.
I would argue that Alabama and Georgia of late are like a staple.
Like 20 years. LSU before that was good, right?
LSU pops in. They're really
that's when they had Saban. That's when they had Saban.
They had I mean, they've been good.
Les Miles won. You know what I'm saying? But again, they do need to eat a little bit of crow on this, right? Not Alabama fans, but the SEC fans who claim this great conference because two teams have 90% of your championships, right? No. All right, so yeah, I agree with Buddy.
Well, it's going to go away here pretty soon too. Once the college playoffs moves to 12 teams, you can pretty much bet that the SEC, they might have more teams in the playoffs, but that doesn't mean that they're going to be at the top.
Yeah, or
Oh,
Or
I'll,
it just
I'll,
turns
I'll take
into
that bet. I'll take that bet right now if you would like. I would love to take that. But they're going to have more teams in the playoffs next year. But here's the problem with the SEC right now. We keep the SEC. This is quickly becoming a sports show,
Sure.
and Dave's getting
Yeah.
pissed. The problem
just
is
drink, Dave. Just drink 10 Mountain vodka. You'll be fine.
the problem.
I'm drinking some of
The
that.
problem is that the SEC keeps allowing the better schools of these other conferences to come into the SEC. So they're going to end up with the same thing that they have bitched about for years and years and years, and that's really good teams playing each other all year long. And then if you're playing teams like fucking South Illinois fucking junior college for the dumb, deaf, and blind every fucking year, every game, then when you get to the playoffs and you're all healthy, it's not
Wait,
all that.
hold on, because I think what I heard you say is you would rather have the SEC play the school for the deaf and blind, so that they could be healthy at the end and trounce
That's
everyone.
exactly what Alabama.
I
would rather if the SEC, honestly, I would rather if the SEC left itself where it was, and like all these other like Texas, Oklahoma, all these other teams that want to come into the SEC, people that like Florida State who might want to buy their way out of the conference that they're currently in because the conference is so fucking weak. Like, and they want to go somewhere. Where would a team like Florida go?
Hey, let's have this conversation on a Friday show, buddy.
Yeah. Well,
come on. We'll turn it into that. Now let's get on to the guest. And those of you who watched our last show before the New Year's break, was that we wanted to start the new year with something positive. So we brought Ben Owen on again. We talked about one of the families that he, recovered from a crack house. They redid the crack house, purchased a crack house, moved the family. These guys weren't addicted. So, but they had problems financially. It was paying like $3,600 a month in rent for like a 1,400 square foot house, like that whole Section 8 crap.
They were paying for a hotel room,
a motel,
right?
A motel. Yep,
just
motel.
stupid.
Yep.
So they got them into a house with a great story, and we shared some of our stories of hope and things that went well for the year. And then I came across LinkedIn. I follow Mike on LinkedIn. We have a little fun conversation, and he was a guest a year and a half ago, a long time ago. And he started Aerial Resupply Coffee, and we always make the joke, when you retire, you got to grow a beard, you got to sell shirts, you got to sell coffee, you got to start a podcast.
Got to do it.
You got to do it. All right. Screw everything else. Like everybody wants our coffee and everybody has to have a beard. But so we're doing it. And we're like, oh, Mike's going to start a coffee company. How original. There's no way that this could work. Right. So let's play the video, Chris. Boom.
Love that.
Yeah, that was like I was like, holy
next
cow,
time if you do it again, do it a little bit slower for the Marines. I don't know if they could keep up with it.
Yeah.
Well, I got to do it in crayon.
Yeah, crayon and just a little bit slower.
That's right. More pictures than words, right?
I mean,
And then-
I'm not gonna lie. As soon as I saw
Love you,
that,
Jarheads.
if it was, as soon as I saw that it was closed caption, I was like, "Fuck, man! Like I gotta read."
Exactly.
The baker, yeah. I forget. I always forget the baker was a Marine or is a Marine. Sorry.
Is a Marine. Can't say former Marine. But before I turn over, we got the homeless guy that I picked up in Nebraska to do a fight show with us, Kelly Ramirez, Air Force veteran. He's on Hook 'em Horns now. Texas and OU will change it. We're not getting into it, Kelly. But all right, we're not getting into it. All right, so we're getting into Mike. So Mike, I've been following you since we had you on the show, but
yeah.
Give us what's been going on, how all this happened, and maybe some failures that you learn from and turn into a positive, that kind of stuff. Just welcome to the Trash Talk Hour again, and and obviously we know that it was because you were on our show a year and a half ago this all happened, but we won't take full credit for it.
Hey,
right? Just
take the credit.
Just
I'm good with it.
Little,
just
a little.
I'm good with it. No, like look, so I started. So like the last time I was on, I'd probably been doing this for about a year now. And because I'm about 2.5 years into building this thing up, and quite honestly, it's been like a lot of hard work with just learning how to do marketing, learning how to do sales, learning how to just do all of it. And when we first talked, I was still really trying to figure out what clicked, what worked for me, what I wanted to lead with, and what I really wanted the mission of ARC to be. And since then, I've really kind of recalibrated kind of what I want to do. And, so I am selling coffee. I mean, ARC is a coffee company first and foremost. But over the last year, I quit my day job. So I left my career post-military and even the corporate world to focus on this full time. And I've really have this idea of a company built on the premise of support. Right. So I was a logistician, combat support. I was a POG, whatever you want to call it in the military. I'm the guy in the, the REMF, the rear, and the guy with the rear and the gear in the rear.
I believe you're looking for Pogue.
Yeah, Pogue, POG, whatever you want to call it.
Correct.
Pogs are currency.
Pogs are the things
Or
we
back in there,
Hey,
the slam.
I was in 2nd Cav Regiment in the RSS, and it was called the Regimental Slow Squadron. So I know exactly what it is. Okay, so look, it's funny, but I wanted to build this company off of the idea of support. And the one thing that I've noticed, and this is my experience, I speak from my own personal journey here on all of this, is that when I got out of the military, there was an absence of organizations that I thought were going to be there in my life. So like places like the VFW and the American Legion, for me, right? This is not for everybody, but for me, were just absent. And even when I tried to reach out to them, they did not seem interested at all in 42-year-old Mike who wanted to come in and be part of it, because I wasn't part of their generation. In fact, the first organization that I showed up to, I called them. I was like, hey, I want to come. And they're like, yeah, come on. And so I showed up, and it was the meeting to close the chapter. And I was like, dude, like I can like call friends. Like I can have people here. We don't care. Goodbye. Done. And so I gave up on it. And so what I want ARC to be, and what the vision of ARC has become, is it's this premise of support. It's about community, because that's really what I think all of us are doing, right? Like I think when you look at like the coffee, when you look at what you guys are doing with 10th Mountain Whiskey, when you look at what you're doing with Veteran Trash Talk, when anybody who builds a veteran-owned business, what are they looking for? They're looking for the community, to recreate the community that they just left in the military, right? Forget everything else.
Yeah.
That's what they want to do. And I'm choosing to do that through coffee. And so, and that's really where I want to go. So at the end of the day, like I'm really looking at building something that's more akin to like a third place. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of, like, there's this idea called the death of the third place, right? Your parents did it all the time. They left work. Your dad left work, or your mom, whatever. Your dad left work, went to the bar, went home. Cheers was the entire show built on the third place, right? Nobody does it anymore. Everybody goes to work, they go home. If you were in the military, you go to work, you go home. Why? Because you're like, well, this sucks. I got to sleep and go back to work because I was in the motor pool until 10 o'clock doing layouts for some stupid commander, right? I mean, that's what you were doing, right? So look, I built this thing and I took off, and last year I did, mid 6 figures in revenue from 2 years ago. And I started taking on investors because I'm really growing this thing. And like you saw in the video, in November, I leased my first retail space, and I'm in the process of building a production facility here in Charlottesville, Virginia. And I hired my very first employee in business and sales development. So I have somebody else to take some of this off of my plate, while I work on the operational side. But it's starting to take off. So there's yeah, a lot of big things have happened since the last time we talked, guys.
Wow, that's
That's
impressive, dude. Congratulations. Yeah.
Thanks.
yeah, and it's less than and it's you're in your third year, you said?
So May,
Two
no,
some, two and some change,
Yeah,
right?
2.5,
two and
yeah.
some change. So August will be year 3. So I still got a little bit of time to go.
So yeah, you're well ahead of schedule for startups. And like,
Oh yeah.
startups for a cash flow positive is like the 5th year.
Mhm.
And then even after the 5th year, it's like less than 4% of all startups bring in over, I think it's like 10 million in recurring revenue,
Mhm.
and then less than like 10% bring in a million in revenue, right? Like to do that. And like you said, you quit your job because you were having that success, and that's got to be a tough decision to make.
Oh yeah.
And we've talked about it on the show before about, America is one of the few countries where you can take a shot like that,
Mhm.
right? Where it's like
Absolutely.
you have a chance to now make life changing money, as opposed, and you're giving up on the security of a retirement and a service job, or a job that's just you can work there for 20 years most likely, right? Barring something. Talk about that mindset, like going through that change of where you're like, what, I'm gonna say screw it, I'm gonna go.
Well, that was scary as hell. Like, I'm not gonna lie, right? You go from the military where you're like, hey, I'm gonna get paid once or two times a month, whether I'm, as long as I'm breathing, right? Like it's gonna come. And then you leave, you go to the corporate world, and there's still that job security a little bit, but you're also worried about, the culture of layoffs, the culture of, downsizing, all this other stuff. And so for me, I was like, well, if this is really going to go, I'm going to have to leave and focus on this full time, because I can't build a business doing this on nights and weekends anymore and not have my family completely like, where's dad? Like, where's Mike as part of the family unit? Like, I couldn't do that. And quite honestly, like, I didn't want to work 18-hour days. I didn't leave the military to work 18-hour days. I didn't want to do that. And so I hard look, and I said, well, it has a chance. I have enough money that I've built up over time to be able to to pay myself for basically a year, which is what I've done, and bet on myself. And so it's been a lot of hustling. It's been a lot of, really pushing forward. But it's not easy. It's not, you're basically saying, okay, any money that comes in is going to be based on my performance. No more is it hiding underneath the umbrella of, well, if I don't do a good job today, somebody else will do it. It's like, if you don't do it, it doesn't get done and you don't get paid. So like, what are you going to do? And a lot of people can do it. And a lot of people have been very successful at it. And some people realize how hard it is, and it's not for them. And that's okay.
Yeah, and we got up north knowledge. We got a YouTube commenter. Somebody's watching us on YouTube. All right, what's up, guys?
Give us
Checking
a
in
like,
from Maine.
subscribe, brother.
Yeah, and he's trying to one up you. He's like, first year business, I'm cash flow positive.
There you go, man.
Props to you. It's like he's like, I'm better than you. I did it in a year.
But everybody's, what the thing though is that everybody's journey is different. Some people will start, so like, I'm in a consumer packaged goods industry, right? Like, if I had chosen to do business leadership consulting and have no overhead whatsoever, yeah, I could be cash flow positive almost immediately, right? But when you start taking on capital equipment, like that's a little bit of a different scenario, and especially as you move forward. And so what I did, what many people I think don't do a good job of, is like, you have to look at your company in a different way. So any coffee shop that you see around is a coffee shop first, and that's it. But the way other people like Black Rifle and some of these other companies like Red Bull, they are a marketing company first that just happens to sell something else. So like the three companies that I pay attention to predominantly, obviously Black Rifle, another, and Red Bull are the two that I pay attention to. But the other one is Liquid Death, which is they bottle water.
Yeah.
And the whole story behind that, if you guys aren't familiar, is the guy was a roadie. He was at concerts and raves and all these different things where everybody was running out of the energy drinks and people were refilling their monster cans with water. And he's like, why don't I do that? Why don't I just sell water in a monster can? And that's where Liquid Death came from. And now they're just making they're just rolling in it.
It's like the Pet Rock. You know, the guy made $1 million off of it. No,
yeah. And Stanley, right? I mean, Stanley's the big thing now, right?
Oh my God. Yeah. That marketing team needs a raise. Exactly. So I have a teenage daughter. Like, I never knew anything about this damn cup until it was like close to Christmas and we're like rushing to get a Stanley Cup. Like, what the fuck is this shit? It blows my mind, man. That marketing team needs a raise because they have done amazing, man. It's out of control. Out of control.
But yeah, for sure.
It hasn't been easy though. And what I didn't hit on was your question about failure. So like, I've taken a lot of shots at marketing that didn't work out for me, right? Like I've paid a lot of money. Like I've had a lot of money go out the door trying to learn how to do pay-per-click ads, Facebook, you name it, just trying to figure out what will work for me so that I can be that marketing company first. And that's very hard coming from like the military community where you're taught, don't be the one that is out in front of everybody. Like you want to be part of the team. And so individualism kind of goes away. And so now all of a sudden it's like, yeah, forget everything you did for 20 years or however long you're in the military. Now it's all about you, sell yourself. And that is still something I struggle with.
Right. And what we want to say to our audience, because this will get, downloaded on Spotify and, Apple for the audio. So those of you not watching right now, or those of you who watch it later, and click on it on Gruntworks and YouTube and that stuff is, people will sit there and we've talked about it before, will whine and complain. And we all do it. We're all guilty of it at some point. But there's a difference in people who get to that next generation, that generation level, the next level of like, generational wealth, or that next level of setting up success for not only hiring other people, paying other people, right? Doing all that, they take an enormous amount of risk getting there. Everybody sees how they look when they got there, but they never care to look back at where they were when they were in the same situation as a lot of you are right now, sitting there thinking about maybe I could probably do something like this. Yeah, you probably could. Go do it, right? Go try. And especially to the veteran community, go try something. Right? Who cares if it's done? Do it better, right? And one of the things that
not being afraid of failure. Like if you fail, you fail.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Is like everybody's terrified of failure. So like I wanted to like have you bring that up to like where if you have like some specific things where you're like, well, that sucked, right? And like, was there ever a time where you sat and said, you know what, maybe it's not worth it. Maybe I'm in over my head. Like, was there ever any doubt like that, or something that happened? Because again, in the business world, something might happen in China or something might happen in a different country that can completely derail whatever road you were on. And like, buddy, we talked about it the other day, as an infantry guy, you just pivot and go the other way. Like, I'll go that way.
I'll tell you that up until recently, I've been pretty confident in what I've been doing. I will say that the pucker moment for me came when I started raising money of investors and now I'm playing with other people's money. That's the pucker moment, because it's not just about me anymore. Right. And I have a lot of people who I've built this community over the past 2.5 years who all support me, who believe in me and have invested some very large sums of money to be able to push this brand forward. And now it's like, okay, so now I have the belief of all these people. And now I have to, now it's like, okay, this is when it really matters. Everything I did before is great. And I can hang my hat on it and say I did it. But now it's, what is this really going to turn into? And so, you said it earlier, my goal is, it's kind of that race to $10 million in annual revenue, right? Like if I can get there, which I firmly believe I can. Like coffee is an $18 billion a year industry. The money is there. So all I have to do is just get to 10 million annual revenue. And then that's like the next break point. And then the companies that go from 10 million to wherever. I mean, if you look at like, and I'll use Black Rifle because it's the big dog in the room. If you look at what they did before they went IPO, they were only doing about 40 to $50 million in annual revenue. Right. So in 2021, when they did that, that's what their revenue was before they went public. And so, but it took them 7 years to get there. So, along the way, I don't know exactly when they made their first million, and I don't know when they made their first 10 million, but it's this snowball effect. And I kind of look at it as, if you're not even willing to play the game, then how are you going to win at the game? So why not throw your hat in the ring? The worst thing that happens is people say no and you go do something else.
Right. No, that's a good point. And again, we got one of our favorite critics on the chat there. We got Jeremy Daniels. He's always a big ball of positivity. He's words. Yes, Jeremy.
He said that a while ago.
Yeah, this is it. I missed it. This is a podcast. Like, that is exactly what you're supposed to be hearing.
I don't know if you know this, but podcasts are made of words.
But for Marines, podcasts are slideshows, right? That's why it's like 15 minutes of silence. Yeah.
And then you end up with a podcast.
See, and he got up north. He laughed at the comments we were making because he's got a sense of humor, probably why you're successful in business. Got to have a little bit of a sense of humor too.
Oh, 100%.
You got to be able to laugh off some things and do it. But what are if you can talk about, what are before we know you have a hard stop in about 4 minutes. What are some of the things for the future? All right, you got, like you said, you're having a distribution center built, and then you signed your lease for your first brick and mortar, and which is something we're looking into doing too. So what's the future for that? Like the space, the employees, the hiring.
Yeah.
As if we were like an investor, give us the pitch.
Sure. So what I'm doing right now is it's a 2,500 square foot industrial space. That's really it's more roasting, packaging, and distribution. Plus, I am also doing almost like people can come in and buy a cup of coffee, right? I absolutely refuse to be a barista. I don't believe in that. Drip coffee for me is like number one. So like if you're used to the gas station, you roll in, you grab a cup of coffee, and you go out. It's exactly what I want it to be like. Only because I feel like that's kind of the culture, right? I mean, so if you want to add the other stuff, then you can do that. I'll have it there, but that's on you, right? We're all big people that can add stuff into their own coffee. But I want to be able to my goal is to hire veterans, veterans, first responders, military spouses. I'm very active in the SkillBridge community to bring in interns, to bring in people who are exiting the military to be a part of this. But moving forward, my goal is to have, employees somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 to 20. Like I'm looking at expansion of remote roles across the country. I'm still looking at distribution. So right now I'm on Amazon FBA. So if you go on Amazon, you have Amazon Prime, you can buy ARC coffee and get it shipped to your house in 2 days.
Well, that's gonna be my next question. How can people support you? Yep.
Yeah. And like I'm in Kroger. So like the 3-store trial here in Charlottesville, like I'm in Kroger, and like if that does well here, I'm already connected and able to be on the shelf in 40 other stores. So it's like I'm waiting we're going through some analytics right now. So again, and all of this stuff that I'm talking about here, I did this by myself by just like sticking my head into people's doors and being like, how do you do this? Anybody can do this. So, the game is not as hard as people make it out to be. It might take a little bit longer. That's what I didn't realize, is how long it would take to get into certain places. But so that's really.
I think you also have to talk about maybe, how did you structure your life prior to starting this business? You know what I mean? Like the thing is, a lot of people like to take like, oh, hey, I'm going to start this. Like say Dave, for instance, I'm going to get into real estate, right? Or you, Mike, I'm going to get into coffee. Well, prior to getting into and making a profit, they've already spent the profit on toys and bullshit, and they've financially structured their life so that if they don't have the ability to say, I'm going to throw my hat in the ring and try something, because they're so into debt and working for their debt that they can't.
Well,
they can't even.
Mike was really
close to failure because you know what I mean? Like
Mike was smart about that though. He mentioned that earlier. Like you had enough in the reserves too. Like you
right.
were a little bit ahead of the game where you were able to sustain yourself for a couple months with, and that's a really good question because for somebody who has nothing and then to jump in to be able to do that and
Right.
devote their time 100% to it
Well,
could be challenging.
I think
Yeah.
Mike has done a really good job of talking about like, how you can just stick your head in the doors, how people want to help other people and asking them, right?
Yep.
But you have to set yourself up for success by structuring your life to not have,
Very good point.
you know,
Yep.
Well, let me say this real quick. So what I did was I took, like I said
plan out your
in the
day.
video,
Yeah.
I had $500. I took $500 and put it in the bank and said, I'm going to sink or swim with this.
Mhm.
And that was different than what I was doing in my personal life. Right.
Right.
So that was the separation of church and state, so to speak.
Right.
And so I said, I'm going to sink or swim with this $500. Let's go. And I made smart decisions and figured out my own marketing plan and figured out how I was going to sell coffee. And that $500 has snowballed over time into what what the revenue of the company has become.
Mhm.
That's called the lean startup method. Many people can do this. It's just a lot of people, you got to be very disciplined to do it. And you got to realize that you can do a lot of this building for free if you're willing to learn. Like I did everything on YouTube, right? You can find how to do anything on YouTube, TikTok, you name it. So I'm not going to pay a consultant $1,500 for their time to tell me a little bit of what they can do when I can go find the same answer on YouTube for free and then find 5 more videos that explain it more in depth.
Right. And then, but I know you gotta take off, you gotta leave. So we'll do a quick hot wash here. And the thing you nailed the most was the discipline. And I'll knock on myself here. Things that I went wrong in my life. You look back at it and go, God, that was stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like there's just something dumb that you did, had a lapse of discipline. And the easiest thing to do is blame other people or blame the system when you don't want to just look in the damn mirror.
It's victim mentality,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, look in the damn mirror and be like, I probably could have adjusted for that.
That's
And
right.
and again, there are things that you couldn't adjust it for, and that's just called shit. Like
That's right.
it happens. It's a shirt, but hey, quick hot wash. There are giants. Okay, and we don't know if they're aliens or if they're super soldiers from New Jersey. Those
Or
are
the
two
Miami
things.
Heat.
Or the Miami Heat. It
Or the
could have just
Miami
been
Heat, that's a good one.
could have just been a basketball team.
Yeah.
What we also learned is you don't fuck around in free states. All right. People will start popping at you. All right. They will. All right. And one of the things we found out in our
and they're coming to a town near you.
Yeah.
So you better stock up with some Four Patriots.
Right.
And get your supplies because it's getting
and I'll do this for Dave. All right. It's 4patriots.com/VTTGW. No longer need a code.
Yep.
And remember, I said this on the fight show yesterday. 4Patriots, you know what? If you don't want to buy their stuff, whatever. But they are giving money to support this mission specifically, right? To grow veteran trash talk, to actually build the community for veterans, right? And they give millions of dollars a year to veterans organizations. So if you do like outdoor survival stuff, i.e., flashlights, generators, anything like the meals, right? Go there. Right, go to 4Patriots because why not? They're helping us out. They're helping veteran groups out. Go there. If you got one that you like, hey man, so be it. And then Mike, what an awesome story. Coming from
sure
in a year and a half when you were on our show to where you're at now.
Coming from a pog,
from a pog, yeah.
A
25-cent pog, right?
Mike is basically like he's basically is a American version of Drake. He started from the bottom,
but now he's here.
Yeah, $500.
Stamp that, Chris. Right? Stamp that.
So yeah, now go shop. On Amazon, you can look up Ariel Resupply Coffee. Follow him on all of his platforms: Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and then go support him. Guess what? Buy Eagle Claw coffee from Ranger Essentials. Buy coffee from Ariel Resupply. Buy coffee from Black Rifle. Buy all the coffee. Just like when, buy our shirts, buy 9 Line Apparel, buy freaking, Chummy Vet Apparel, buy it all, right? Just buy a shirt from Hanes, okay? Get it from a veteran company. Yeah, funny how that works. We don't care. But hey, great show, Mike. Thanks for coming on. We'll let Dave close it out, but there's your hot wash.
Thanks, guys.
Final words, Mike.
I enjoy coming on this show with you guys. So hopefully, maybe in the next 18 months, it's kind of like Moore's law, right? Everything doubles. So maybe here, a year and a half from now,
You'll be in our studio.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah,
You never
there
know.
you
But
go. Yeah.
appreciate you guys having me on.
Appreciate everything, Mike. Great story. Trash Talkers, Gruntworks Nation, thanks for tuning in. Make sure you go check out shop.veterantrashtalk.com. We're wearing some awesome merch. I am wearing, for those of you that watched the interview with Elon Musk, where he says, go fuck yourself, where we're trying to blackmail him. This is an awesome tee. We made that. So go get that. Go to veterantrashtalk.com. That's our website. It's got the links to Spotify, all Apple Music, iTunes, whatever else we're on. And we'll catch you guys next Saturday. Boom. We're out.
Thanks for watching and listening. And now a word from our sponsor, 4Patriots. In a startling description, the UN food chief warned the world with the words, knocking on famine's door. He called what we're facing a perfect storm of a perfect storm. And he's not alone. Barron's published that a food shortage could be coming, even in the U.S. Farmers see it too. John Boyd Jr., a fourth-generation farmer, told Fox News that we're going to see empty food shelves in the coming months. That's why getting survival food is more important than ever now. Create your own stockpile of the best-selling 4Patriots survival food kits. It's not ordinary food. We're talking good for 25 years super survival food, hand-packed in a family-owned facility in the USA and giving jobs to over 200 Americans. They have different delicious breakfasts, lunches, dinners. You can make these meals in less than 20 minutes. Just add boiling water, simmer, and serve. And right now, for the next few days, listeners of the Veteran Trash Talk podcast will get 10% off their first order at 4patriots.com by using the code VTTGW. Go to 4patriots.com and use the code VTTGW to start your stockpile today.